It's Al Cole from CBS Radio, and I want to tell you about a Renaissance woman who excels at everything she puts her innovative mind to. And you know, I'm going to start it out like this. What would you say if I told you that I was going to introduce you to a lady who is a very successful business entrepreneur and a world-class creative force as a realtor, interior designer, hosts charity golf tournaments for wildlife, and is the cutting-edge author of the stunning Magical Forces Within? Well, Al, I'd say make the introduction, brother. I've just been dying to learn some of all of those things from somebody who sounds like a real magnetic lady. Well, you're in luck because not only can you learn about the fabulous life accomplishments of this woman, whose name happens to be Rhonda Grant, but week in and week out, Rhonda will introduce you to some of the most exciting guests on the planet as she hosts her own awesome podcast, The Rhonda Grant Show, on Contact Talk Radio. Week to week, Rhonda skillfully weaves the magical forces within her with the extraordinary discoveries in the sometimes ordinary lives of her guests who blossom before your very eyes through the guidance and know-how of such a skilled and sensitive host as Rhonda Grant. You got to check it out. Check out all the action at RhondaGrantAuthor.com. That's RhondaGrantAuthor.com to witness the extraordinary discoveries in otherwise ordinary lives. And I hear some of you asking right now, well, Al, how do you know all this? I'll tell you. It's because I weave some of the same magic on my own nationally syndicated show called People of Distinction. It's all about humanity at its best. Every guest with extraordinary things to say about the magical forces within life itself. Get it? So check them out. The Rhonda Grant Show, Extraordinary Discoveries in Ordinary Lives, and People of Distinction, created by me, Al Cole from CBS Radio, now hosted by my amazing son, Benji Cole. You can check out People of Distinction on Apple Music or email me for exciting updates on my music and my books too, especially Romance for Women on Amazon. Email me at al@alcoholic.com. You heard me right. That's AL@ALCOLEHOLIC.com. And I really want to thank my CBS radio listeners for coming up with that handle, Alcoholic. Seems like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. So here we go in classic form with a swing of a golf club as she hosts another charity golf tournament for wildlife and another incomparable Rhonda Grant show. So all together, everybody, here's Rhonda.
Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to the Rhonda Grant Show right now, and the theme song, Sun on the Water, is composed and performed by my friend John Park Wheeler. I have a lot of great guests on my show, and I have a great guest coming up. If you've been searching for a deeper meaning in your life, go to Amazon and pick up my book, Magical Forces Within. If you want to get in touch with me, please go to RhondaGrantAuthor.com for my suite of services. You know, we're all ordinary people having extraordinary experiences, and we have a fantastic guest on the show today, Tara Watson, who is a mom, wife, and social media marketer who offers people better health with quality live, clean products. She coaches her team on how to achieve wealth by building a successful online business. And we're going to find out about her extraordinary experiences. Hello, Tara. How are you today?
I'm very good, Rhonda. How are you doing?
Wonderful. It's so nice to have you on the show. I'm so looking forward to you talking about your business. But what has brought you to the health and wellness industry?
Well, honestly, I wasn't intentionally going into the health and wellness industry. It kind of found me. I was actually open to just learning about new business opportunities. And I was introduced to a health and wellness company by a friend of mine. She had just moved into a new company, and I just asked her what made her make the move. She started talking to me about the company, and all of the everything just kind of fit. And so I just came into the health and wellness industry, and I basically have just learned as I went along. I've been enjoying it for over 5 years now.
The listeners would like to know what business you are in.
Well, I am a social marketer for a health and wellness company called Modera. It
Yes.
is an online business. So it is basically you can go online, you can find your products, and you can order anything from collagen to weight loss to live clean products for your home, skincare, everything across the board. But it's very in line with not leaving any kind of ecological footprint. It's consciously aware of no animal testing, and it really is just it's a fantastic company and corporation to be partnered with.
That's wonderful. I didn't realize that you had skincare.
Yes. I mean, this is the great thing about this company is that I have so many people that come to me for one very specific need. One of our most popular products has to do with joint relief and treatment of osteoarthritis.
Right.
And then they end up finding that we have additional product lines like laundry detergent and toothpaste and a full skincare line, hair care, millions of homes over to more of a clean lifestyle of living. So, and there are so many different things that we come into contact.
You tested it on your mom, or your mom wanted to try it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom was essentially my guinea pig. I received the new product. I went straight over to her house. I said, "You're going to be my trial person for this. And if it works for you, then I'm going to introduce it to as many people as I possibly can." And within a week of taking the product, she was no longer using Voltaren for her knees, which anybody that has anything to do with osteoarthritis knows that that's one of the creams that you have to rub on your knees to help alleviate any joint stiffness. And so she stopped using that within a week of using the product. And she was seeing incredible results. And another side effect that was fantastic about this joint relief product was that her skin started to transform as well. She was 74 when she started taking it at the time, and she saw a significant reduction in the lines around her face and her lips and her eyes, and just generally her skin started looking healthier. So,
oh boy, everybody's going to want to sign up.
Absolutely. And, for those of us that are in Canada, it was really important that it was Health Canada approved. So in Canada, it is actually recommended as a treatment for osteoarthritis. So we're really proud to have that backing behind us specifically in Canada, but it is offered throughout a variety of different countries because we are actually in a number of different countries. So in the US, in India, throughout Europe, New Zealand, Australia, they can all get their hands on this amazing product.
So does that mean that it's FDA approved?
It's not FDA approved, just simply because it's not a food or a drug.
Okay.
Right. It is a natural health supplement. So it is in a different category.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, a lot of people, as they get older, end up feeling some pain in their joints. And first thing in the morning, sometimes it's hard to get going, right? And so I guess it would help with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing is that when it comes down to it, as soon as we turn the age of 25, the collagen in our body begins to deplete. Right. So as soon as you hit 25, that's when, you look in the mirror and all of a sudden you're noticing that you've got some extra lines around your eyes that you didn't previously. And that's simply because your collagen levels are depleting. Hyaluronic acid is another ingredient that's in our biocell. And hyaluronic acid, as soon as you are a baby, our hyaluronic acid levels start to drop. Right. So it starts at birth that you are born with a whole bunch of hyaluronic acid, which is that plump baby look. Mm-hmm. And that starts to deplete. So as we get older and older, these two combined, they really start to show with the aging process, right? As you're getting older, you get that stiffness in the joints, right? There's not as much fluid that's going around in your body. And by taking something like this supplement, you really you start to increase those, the collagen stores, and hyaluronic acid levels actually increase 6,000% in 28 days.
Goodness.
Yeah, that was according to our clinical trials that were done. So it really is, there's a lot of proof behind it in the science. So you can understand, because I've got so many customers that came to me, 2-3 days later and said, my mom's saying that she can walk up the stairs again without issues. Is this normal? And I have to just always go back to the science. I'm like, you know what? It actually is. It kind of feels like it's almost a placebo effect at times, right? But I've got hundreds and hundreds of customers that I've dealt with. And they all do say that same thing, where it's quite a shocking result. And one of the main reasons that it does go into effect right away is it's called bioavailable. And essentially what that means is that when it is ingested, it's a drink. When it's ingested, the body recognizes it immediately. So it knows exactly what it is that it's taking. It recognizes it as collagen, hyaluronic acid, and chondroitin sulfate, which is another ingredient in there. And because it recognizes it immediately, it has a 93% absorption rate.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's the biggest thing, is that there's a lot of supplements that are definitely on the market. Right. So you can see a lot of powders and a lot of peptides that are out there. But what it really comes down to is absorption rate. How much of this supplement is the body actually recognizing and absorbing in order to do the work that it's meant to do? And our product is 93%. So mainly the most of what you are taking is actually being effectively used.
I'm sure that our listeners are wondering, does it taste good?
Yes,
or not?
Of course, yes. And I thought the same thing when I was about to take it. I was like, oh,
okay,
tastes like medicine, of course, right?
What do you do? You like you squeeze your nose and you drink it so that you don't taste it, or?
And I would be like that if it did what it said it did. And it does. So I would have been like that. I would have just taken it like my medicine, but actually, No, it does not taste bad.
Okay, good.
We have one of our most popular ones is BioCell Life. It's actually has added antioxidant juices like acai berry that is in it.
Oh, yes.
So it just has a juice flavoring to it. We have one that's called Pure as well, which has zero carbs, and it's sweetened with stevia. So if you're not a fan of stevia, then you might not enjoy it. But both of them are, yes, you can absolutely take it. You can mix it with a little juice. You can put it in your smoothie. You can 100% take it straight, because that's how I do it.
What is Stevian? I've never heard of that. Stevian.
Oh, it's stevia or stevia.
Stevia. Okay.
Depends on how you pronounce it. Yes, but it's essentially just a natural sweetener.
Okay.
So it's natural sweetener that is found in nature, so that's what's used to sweeten the taste of it. The Life is naturally sweetened because it's got the added antioxidant juices that have been added.
Mm-hmm. So what two products, if you had to choose two products that you sell, which ones are your favorite? Is it the collagen and another one, or is there a couple of other ones that you like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the liquid BioCell is my number one product that I always take, and I will take from now until the end of time, quite honestly. It is something that has helped me with my hands, so I don't have that same stiffness in my hands that I used to, and it basically just made it go away. So this is the thing, as soon as you find a product where you're like, oh, I don't have to deal with that anymore, why would you ever go off of that product? Right? Because I've had the alternative, I've done the test, I go off of it for a while, and then it comes back, and then I go back on the product and it goes away. So I've had the trial, and I'm like, yeah, I can just, this is just part of my new regime, and it's great. The other product that is the most popular, and I definitely also will gravitate towards, is our lean body system. And it's simply it's like a Kickstarter program to anybody that has gained some excess weight and needs assistance beyond exercise and diet to help them to have a reduction in their waistline.
Well, you came along right at the right time, because people, like during the pandemic, people are not out as much. And some people have gained weight during that time.
Oh, and I was one of them. I mean, I don't know about everybody else out there, but when the middle of March hit in Canada, and we were basically told you're staying at home and you can't leave the house unless it's an absolute emergency, I was essentially locked in a house with a whole bunch of flour, yeast, and and I was seeing nonstop videos on how to make your own pizza dough and how to make your own bagels, and this is how you make scones. So I became a professional home baker.
Yes.
And I must say, I'm very good. I am very good at baking. I detest cooking, so I'm not fantastic as a cook. But as a baker, I might say I am pretty good. I could have had another profession.
Yes.
So when you're a really good baker and you have only 3 mouths to feed in a house, and 2 of the people are like, yeah, no, I'm okay. It definitely starts to affect your waistline. And I gained the COVID-15. Like a lot of other people out there. I gained it fast because, yeah, I was baking nonstop and it was delicious. And
well, it's a psychological thing too, that we like comfort food. And there's nothing like, you know, the types of things that you're talking about, especially scones with some jam or honey. So totally understandable. So what other products do you like? I really like how you're delving into these products, and your knowledge about them is incredible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been with the company for 5 years, and honestly, I am a true product of the product. I do believe that if you are going to be telling other people that they should be purchasing the products, you should be using them in your daily life. And so I've incorporated almost every product in our line into my daily life. So I've got everything from the shampoo, the conditioner, fantastic hair care products that honestly are, I converted over my mother, I don't know, probably about 3 years ago to the shampoo, and she won't have any other shampoo. And she was a bit of a shampoo hair care snob before then. Sorry to say that, but she was.
How did it help? Did it help with hair loss or the shine, or what did it do?
Yeah, for her, it really just helped with the shine, and that dullness kind of went away. And it is because there's no phosphates that are in the shampoo. It is there's no toxins that are in the shampoo. It is a very natural shampoo. And it is, a process of, you just put a small amount in, you wash it through, you rinse it out, and you put a small amount again in for the shampoo. So you do a double shampoo. And understanding that, because quite honestly, not a lot of people are educated about it, because they simply were told, this is the shampoo that mom bought, so I'm going to buy this shampoo, and that's the one you always gravitate towards. So you don't really think about the fact that you get a really rich lather the first time you shampoo, and that's phosphates. That's all that is.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
That's the chemical that's been added that makes it get all soapy and sudsy. So when you put this non-toxic product in your hair, it won't bring up that big rich lather the first time around, because it doesn't have the phosphates. It doesn't have that chemical in it. So you have to rinse it through. This is now opening the follicle of the hair. So the second time that you put it through, you will actually get a lather, because the follicle has been opened. And that's the natural way of actually shampooing your hair, so that it is not adding these chemicals to it. It's not stripping it. It's not making it that dull look, right? So that was one of the biggest things. So shampoo, yeah, there's a shampoo, there's a hair care line. And then, of course, anybody that has a cottage, or anybody that is really conscious of, adding chemicals to their water, especially if they have, if they use well water or anything like that, any of our household products, they're gray water safe, which essentially means that if you were to wash your dishes, you could take the dirty dishwasher and you can go water your plants with the same water. And they will not only survive, but they will actually thrive because there is nothing that is toxic in the product. So the products are great for anywhere that for like the cottage or anything like that. Like they're fantastic. You can feel really confident bathing your children, using the shampoos on your children, because I know that there's a lot of young parents that are always concerned about what they're putting into, like their children's path. You always want to make sure that they're treating them with the best of care, which is so funny because we do this with our babies and with our children, but we don't necessarily do it with ourselves, right?
I know.
We just grab things blindly because if you were born in the 60s, 70s, kind of era, you just do as you were told to do back then. And there was a lot of ignorance back then. We didn't really know any better, right? That was one of the big things back then, is we didn't really know any better.
Well, and there wasn't enough choices. There wasn't the education, any of that, right?
Exactly. And that old adage of when you know better, you do better, right? Maya Angelou. I completely agree with that. So once you do know better, then make the choices that are going to be better for you and your family and for the environment, quite honestly. And that's basically the mission that the company really has, is that we would like to get millions of healthy homes. Right. So this is more of a way of life than it is the difference, right? We don't think that we should be the ones that are different. We think the ones that use the toxic products should be the ones that are different. Like, why are they doing that? Almost like what happened with the smoking thing, right? We had so many people that were smokers. It was almost odd that you didn't smoke. And then there was a transition that occurred where all of a sudden everybody became aware. We understood that this was something that was toxic, that we shouldn't be actually doing. And then there was a shift in our culture that happened where actually the smokers are the ones that are now on the outside of this spectrum. So
they used to be so cool.
They did. They did. They were heavily promoted as being cool. And
yes,
like if you want to be real cool, you have a leather jacket and a cigarette hanging out of your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Nope,
and
not anymore.
Not anymore. It's not so great. How do you spell the name of that company for the listeners?
So Modera is Modere. And I'm a social marketer with them. So we actually don't use heavy marketing campaigns like you would have for, some of these larger corporations. They pay social marketers like myself to help promote the brand. So you would have a social marketer like myself that would be personalized consultant that kind of helps you with choosing the products that are going to be right for you. And that's what I do. And that's what I teach my team to do as well. So I have a number of team members that do the same thing that I do. We fell in love with the products or the business opportunity. And we help our customers the same way that you would, if you were walking into a retail store and somebody said, how can I help you? We're doing the exact same thing, except we just do it all online. That's basically the only difference.
So you do other things. So why do you think it's important to do other things, like have this business and then do something else?
Well, honestly, this was my other thing that I was doing for the long time, right? So there was a bit of a shift that did happen. And I was working for corporate. I got my real estate license. I became a realtor, and I became a full-time realtor. I dropped my corporate, and then I gained Modera. And I always believe that there should be some sort of plan B that is in your life. You should always have something that if anything were to happen with that first thing that I thought was going to go really well, if perchance it doesn't, then at least I have something that I can lean on or I can focus on in that case. And I've had a number of people that have worked with me at Modera where they got packaged out of the company that they were working for, right? It's that case where you literally walk into work one day and then all of a sudden, I'm sorry, but we made a shift with the company and we no longer need you. right? And so I've had a number of people that literally went from having a full-time salary job to nothing, but thankfully they had this other side business that they were doing, that they didn't go from full salary to zero, right? They have a buffer, and they ended up actually moving more towards full-time working with their Modera business. And it was almost a blessing that it had happened. But if you don't take that chance of, I am going to try something new, because I find that there's so many people that just get comfortable in what they're doing, and they don't understand that there is always risk that's involved if you're not in complete control of that thing that you're doing. And I don't know about you, but I don't know many things that you're in complete control of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
I think we had this with the pandemic. There are so many unknown factors out there.
But when you're working every day and you're working at a job that's consistent, it's hard to put your head up and worry and think about your future until that package comes.
Right.
And then it shocks you. But we're listening to the Rhonda Grant Show right now, and my guest today is Tara Watson. How may people contact you, Tara?
They can reach me a number of different ways. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the business I just got, but I'm going to have to look it up again. So
okay.
While I put that one on. Yeah, it is. Sorry, there's a phone number that you can text me if you have any direct questions. It's 289-352-1285. And you simply text that number, and I can give you any information about any of the products that I talked about, or of course any of the business opportunities that you're thinking of, if you're thinking about doing some sort of side gig. Yeah, over time, it's the opinions of other people. They really don't matter. The amount of time people actually think about you would be startling to you, because it's very little that other people are thinking of you.
What I've heard over the years is that, when you're in your teens, you think everybody's, thinking about you or talking about you. When you're 30, you realize that maybe, half of those people were. And by the time you're 40, you're realizing that nobody really thought about you at all. And here you spent most of your time concerned about it. And so there's an example right there. So what made you realize that it didn't matter that what people thought about what you did?
Honestly, it came down to goals for me.
Okay.
It was a matter of I had a goal that was in front of me, and if I had really invested time in thinking about what others might think if I approached them to ask them whether or not they had any interest either in looking at the business or even just looking at the products that I had, if I really invested the time in wondering about that, it would have gotten in the way of me achieving things in my future. And there is much more importance to me on getting to a successful level for my family than it was for me wondering whether or not they thought I was worthy or they thought anything about me, quite honestly, right?
Right, whether they approved of it.
Whether they approved, yeah. So I, as soon as I realized that if I stopped really, really focusing on other people's thoughts of me, and just if I was secure in who I was, I was going to be a lot more successful in life, not just in business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
it's a wonderful teaching.
It really is. And it was, the thing is that I do coaching for a number of people, and it's very difficult to convince somebody of their self-worth. You really have to take that journey on your own. Yes. You really need to focus on positive affirmations. You really need to tell yourself the truth about yourself, which is that you are worthy, that you are a positive influence, and that you do have success. You need to say it so many times that you can actually start to believe it.
Start to believe it. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because it does take a lot of times. And I think a lot of people want a very quick fix. They want to just say, like, oh, I tried the affirmations, it didn't work. Well, you probably tried it for like 2 weeks and then it didn't work. And so you just gave up. This process can sometimes take months. It can sometimes take a year for some people that are really having to get over some previous heartaches, right? That
Mm-hmm.
they themselves.
Well, yeah, and there's different levels. And the thing is, why not be in it for the long haul? Because it is your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how
Mm-hmm.
bad can it possibly be to tell yourself some good things every single day?
Oh, it's delicious. Everybody should do it, at least for a day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was there anyone that was influential in your life that helped you with your path, Tara?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of mentors along the way. I've had some fantastic people that I've met through this business. Quite honestly, there's been countless amounts. I would, you know, Tina Thorogood is the one who introduced me to the business. She's been definitely instrumental in getting me to where I needed to be. And Sarah and Tony Zalecki were two of my great mentors that helped me along the way in different paths. Justin Prince was another fantastic mentor. Once again, that sometimes you just need to hear the right words at the right time, and it can propel you forward. And then, of course, my mother, who was the first
Yes.
entrepreneur that I ever met, and
Yes.
he was instrumental in teaching me just basically that that I was loved, that she was worthy, that she was strong, that she was independent, and that if you have a dream, that you just go out and you pursue it. And if it fails, that's okay, because maybe it's meant to put you in a different direction. Right. So she was absolutely a heavy influence to me as well.
There's so much teaching in failures, though. I mean, we call them failures instead of there are points in your life where you stumble and pick yourself up, but sometimes you pivot when you pick yourself up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe fully in the failing forward mentality,
Perfect.
right? It has to be a case of you need to have these failures in order to learn, to improve, to pivot, right? Because sometimes when you're having these failures, it's because you're maybe not meant to be on that specific path, right? So learning from these failures, learning to pivot in a different direction and maybe be open to other things. These are all lessons that we learn throughout life. And if we're not going to be learning from these lessons, how are we ever going to grow? Right. And that's the whole purpose, is that we're all trying to grow, become better people, for ourselves, for our families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, it makes us feel uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said for being uncomfortable, right? And it's the great things are found in that uncomfortable zone, right? So you're never really going to feel that extraordinary sensation unless you take that jump out of the plane, which I'm not going to do, by the way. I don't.
No, I don't want to do that.
But metaphorically, I will do it
Yes.
over and over again.
Yes.
Right?
Do
But it's
you,
that
yeah.
sensation that you cannot get until you actually push out of your comfort zone. And for some people, it is as simple as picking up a phone and
Oh,
calling
yes.
somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes enough of a outside of a comfort zone for some people. But like I said, yeah, you don't get anywhere. You will remain constant unless you do get outside of that comfort zone. That's where change occurs.
Yes. And I mean, those are little steps, and you do the little steps, and then all of a sudden you start feeling differently, and you start welcoming those challenges, and wanting to see what you're really made of.
Right.
And that's why we're here, is to find our gifts and share our gifts with as many people as we can, I think. Do you feel like you've been called?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I do believe that everything that I'm doing is for a specific purpose. I don't necessarily know what that is. But my job is simply to go with the journey. I know that things are put in front of me for a reason. I know I'm introduced to people for a reason. And I do believe that I was meant to be in this industry for a very specific reason. So yeah, there's not much I question about why things are happening. And I've had good things happen, I've had bad things happen, It's not for me to decide why. It is simply the decision is for me to, how can I utilize this? How can I move forward with this? So I do believe I was called into this industry. I do believe I was called to help a number of people that I've been introduced to. And I'm just so very grateful. I'm so very grateful for it.
Wonderful. Well, you're certainly passionate about it. Just for our listeners, just in case they didn't have a pen the last time you talked about your contact information, would you like to share it with us again?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach me directly at Tara Watson. That's TARAWATSON. .com or sorry .ca.
Okay.
I am in Canada. Or you can reach me through my business, which is tarawatson.shiftingretail.com. And you can also reach me if you wanted to send me a text directly. You can reach me at 289-352-1285. And if you'd like, you can just drop the word Rhonda in there, and then I'll know that you heard from me through Rhonda's podcast.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Only that I just hope if anybody does take something away from this, is that they really stop and think about how much they're loving and appreciating themselves, how much they're telling themselves positive things on a daily basis, and making a mental note to really stop whenever you're getting into any kind of path of negativity, to consciously just say stop and revert back to positive thoughts about yourselves. I think that the more people that are in the world that are doing this, that the better as a society we will all be. We will be more of a feeling of gratitude to one another, if we're feeling that gratitude to ourselves first.
Right. And with that said, do you have a morning ritual that you have to prepare you for the day and the work that you do?
My morning ritual, I mean, I go back and forth. I get up in the morning and I run. But I've always been that person I'm not a natural runner. I have to force myself to run.
Yes.
I do have friends that are natural runners and I applaud them, and I wish I had that same gene. But no, when I wake up on a morning, I'm just waking up with intention and purpose. And I always do the positive affirmations. I always make sure that I'm telling myself very positive things about my day, about how it is going to be, and definitely wishing well upon myself for all the things that are planned out for my day and those that I interact with. So that's how I start my mornings, knowing that that I am going to will positivity into my life. And I will say this, I make my bed every single morning, because at least I've accomplished one thing every single day.
Wonderful. I heard that successful people are people who get up and make their bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that? Yes.
Absolutely, I have.
There's a tip right there.
I was already doing it, and I thought, oh, there you go. I've already accomplished something else. But yes, wake up in the morning, make your beds, and you at least can say, well, I did make my bed this morning.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Tara. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Rhonda. It's been a pleasure being here.
It's been fun too.
It has.
Yes. This is Rhonda Grant with The Rhonda Grant Show, author of Magical Forces Within, Extraordinary Discoveries in an Ordinary Life, inviting you to take a look for the magical forces within yourself today and every day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in to The Rhonda Grant Show with your host, Rhonda Grant. If you would like to find out more information about Rhonda and her upcoming guests and the work that she does, go to her website, rhondagrantauthor.com. That's rhondagrantauthor.com.